Today is a day of sorrow. Um, Not having a good time. Devin Booker just hit one of the dumbest shots I've seen this season to send OKC packing on home, and that one stung a little bit. And now it appears as though my AJ DeBonsa to OKC dreams are just dead. What's going on, basketball lovers and hoop heads? Welcome back to Checkup, where I, Bryce, am your host as always and forever. If you were somehow unawares, the Oklahoma City Thunder owned the Los Angeles Clippers first-round pick in the 2026 draft, and that's the same Los Angeles Clippers team that started the season 6-21 and 14th in the Western Conference. So for a while there, it looked as though the Los Angeles Clippers may be gifting the Thunder a top 5 pick in this upcoming draft. You know, the Thunder, we are just so depleted of talent and youth, and we could really use that top 5 pick. But alas, some things are just not meant to be, and my dreams have been dashed by the outstanding play of Kawhi Leonard. You see, the Clippers have really turned things around as of late. Over their past 7 games, they are 6-1. They went on a 6-game winning streak before losing to Boston the other night when Jaylen Brown dropped 50 on their heads, and it has been incredible. This team is finally starting to kick into gear, become the kind of team that they could be, and that is largely because of the play of Kawhi Leonard, who has just been absolutely outstanding across this stretch. Leonard is arguably in the midst of the best individual season of his entire career. He's averaging 28 points per game. He's throwing in 6 rebounds and 3.5 assists to go along with that. He's shooting 50% from the field. He's at almost 39% from 3 and a staggering 95% from the free throw line. Those are incredible numbers, almost 50, 40, 90 on the highest usage of any of his individual seasons thus far. And Kawhi is really receiving a buff over these last 7 games. The Clippers, I think, like I said earlier, are 6-1 over their last 7. They were on a 6-game winning streak. And Kawhi, over that 6-game winning streak, which averaging over 40 points per game. And that's the only time in his career he's averaged over 40 over a 6-game spread. That's one of those minute stats that ESPN likes to throw in there. But it's kind of crazy that a guy who's been around for as long as he has never just had a weird 6-game stretch where he's averaged a lot of points. This is the first time he's ever done that. Throw in that incredible 50 bomb that he had, and Kawhi is just on a generational heater right now, and it's coming really when the Clippers needed it. I mean, the season was looking lost. It was looking like they were just going to gift OKC a top 5 pick in this draft and create a juggernaut that would not be stopped for a decade. And this explosion from Kawhi has just been so much fun to witness. I mean, for a guy that has been dealing with the knee injuries, like the unfortunate knee injuries. You never want to see a guy just like lose it all because of injury. It's such a devastating way for such a talented individual to lose their career. And to see him, he's playing a ton of minutes right now. Ty Lue and the Clippers are trusting him, and he's making the most of it for them. He's, like we said, averaging a ton of points. He's doing it in every which way possible, getting to the rim, getting downhill when he needs to. He's taking a bunch of threes and hitting them all right now. The mid-range game is just on point. It's so much fun, and I'm really happy for the guy to finally be, experiencing what feels like just a really nice stretch of basketball, which for Clippers fans has been hard to come by over the past 5 years. Three, 2, 1. So yeah, it's hard to over 3, 2, 1. It's hard to overstate the impact that Kawhi is having right now. I mean, he is almost entirely the sole reason for this nice 7-game stretch, and we'll see if it continues. Obviously, he's not going to average 40 points per game for the entire season, but he's definitely making a nice all-star push right now. We'll see where he ends up at the end of the season. I hope he continues to play a nice level of minutes, stays healthy. Hopefully nothing comes and bothers him, because it's always good having talent in the NBA. Although Kawhi has been the most important factor in the Clippers' success as of late, it's not the only factor. There's another thing I feel like we need to talk about, and that's been the absence of Ivica Zubac. And that's not to say that Ivica to start the season was like a particularly damaging player. I just think things felt a little wonky this year and they felt old and wobbly. And while I think Zubac had a genuinely all NBA level season last year, he just wasn't there this year for some reason. Something felt off. The touch around the rim has not been the same. The defense has just not been the same. And we couldn't quite put our fingers on it. And especially with Derrick Jones Jr. going out of the lineup, the Clippers were just running these starting lineups, these starting units that had no spacing whatsoever. But since Zubac went down with injury, that forced Brook Lopez into the starting lineup. And although Lopez had a really rough start to the year, he has been kind of a godsend for this Lakers team or this Clippers team as of late. It's not even that I'd say Brook Lopez is on like a heater or anything right now. It's not like he's producing at a particularly critical level, but it's just the threat of him being on the court, helping to provide more spacing to the starting unit has really opened the floor up. And you can see that when you watch these games. There's just so much more space, again, for Kawhi and James Harden to create. I think like John Collins makes so much more sense at the 4 next to a guy like Brook Lopez than he does Ivica Zubac, and it's really just things have started to click for the Clippers again. Their offense has been absolutely insane as of late. As a matter of fact, over the past 7 games, the Clippers have had the best offense by offensive rating in the entire NBA, and they've had the number 8 defense. So all the numbers across the board are really ticking up for them and have looked great. And again, I think a lot of that is due to just their lineups, their rotations right now. Of course, Kawhi's heater is coming at the opportune time to make things really round into shape and look good, but Brook Lopez has genuinely made a difference by just providing more spacing to the court. He doesn't even have to shoot particularly well. He had a night, a couple nights ago where he shot like 2 for 12 or something absurd like that, like a really high volume, not a lot of makes. But the Clippers still ended up winning the game because just the threat of him being there provides so much more space for their stars to work and get to their shots. Let's take a second. Let's look at a couple examples here real quick, and then maybe we'll pull up an old clip with Zubac, and you can kind of see the difference. Let's look at something really simple here together. Okay, so we have a unit with James Harden, Kawhi Leonard, Brook Lopez, Chris Dunn, and John Collins on the floor. Okay, so non-shooter over here in the corner, 4 shooter-ish, let's call them. So we have Brook Lopez has the ball on the wing. He's going to bring this ball across the top from this screen from Kawhi, throwing it over to James Harden. We're going to run high screen and roll, as James Harden so loves to do. Now, if this were Ivica Zubac would, of course, just roll off of this, maybe into the middle of the paint or maybe lower into the paint, and there wouldn't be much to do, right? Because Chris Dunn's man is helping deep off of him and is going to. Zubac is going to catch the ball here, and he's going to be facing a guy, have no easy way to the rim, even if the Jazz double team like they do off of these pick and roll here. So if this were Zubac, he's catching the ball in the middle of the floor. I mean, he's a decent decision maker out of the short roll. He's going to make a pass to either John Collins or Chris Dunn, who aren't particularly apt shooters, and he's not really going to have a clear pathway to the rim. But because this is Brook Lopez, of course, he can space out to the wing, pick and pop, and Clippers get an open 3. It makes everything make much more sense when they have that kind of spacing 5 and someone like Chris Dunn on the floor who they need to provide adequate defense. Another something quick that we can just look at here together. So this play started with a screen and roll, and the Jazz switched this play. So we now have Kyle Filipowski guarding James Harden. Isaiah Collier is guarding Brook Lopez. Brook is spaced way out here. Honestly, Harden could throw this pass over here to Brook, and he'd have a wide open 3 because he's sagging off him pretty heavily, shockingly so. But, we get Collier stopping James from driving at the nail, but you can just see the open lane that he has. He zips right around Kyle Filipowski here. Svi Mykhailiuk actually takes a step back towards Kawhi in the corner because he's afraid of him getting that open 3 off. And then we have John Collins roaming the dunker spot here, who is certainly a threat. He pulled his man Cody Williams to the opposite side here, who is not able to get over to James Harden in enough time to provide that help defense, and we get a nice layup. Just again, those little wrinkles that Zubac's not being there, it really helps to have Brook in that starting lineup and to provide an actual threat. Real quick, let's pop over to a play from a couple weeks ago where Zubac was healthy, and we can kind of see how things have changed. So we have Zubac running a DHO action up top with James Harden. John Collins setting a screen on Harden's man, and John Collins is going to pop over here to the corner to provide spacing. Zubac is going to roll. But just look at how kind of ugly and congested this is. First off, Santi Aldama completely sagging off John Collins. Doesn't see him as a shooting threat whatsoever and is just here to prevent the easy roll for Ivica Zubac. This allows Jaren Jackson Jr. to step up and kind of contain rather than have to be way back and drop to make sure his man doesn't get behind him. And then Ja is just in the paint providing nail help all the way off from Chris Dunn because Chris Dunn's not a shooter. So James is forced to bail off this. The Memphis Grizzlies have 4 defenders in the paint right now. Pass over to Chris Dunn, who does this little hezzy move, kind of gets around Ja, gets into the paint, but Jaren Jackson Jr. steps up to provide help. And just, again, there's 3 defenders in the paint here. There's no pass going to Zubac whatsoever. There's no shot going up. He barely gets this pass out here to John Collins, bumbles it, has to throw it out. Jalen Wells almost gets his hands on it, and then it's a missed 3. The Grizzlies essentially kept 4 defenders in the paint at all times throughout that play, and did not have to pay for it at all. So yeah, that's just kind of demonstrating the difference between what's happened as of recent and what happened earlier in this year. The offense was just abysmal. It just felt like there was no way to make it work. You know, the Clippers got older this year, so they're not running as much as they did last year. They really put their namesake on the defensive end of the ball last year, and that defense has just disappeared for the most part. But, again, it's come back a little bit as of late, so we'll see what happens moving forward. Ivica Zubac just played for the first time after his injury the other night. He came off the bench. Brook Lopez still started. The Clippers lost that game, of course, but Jaylen Brown had one of the best 50-point games we've ever seen. So you win some, you lose some, man. So we're going to see moving forward what happens with that. Hopefully, I really like Ivica Zubac. I think he's a very talented individual. Again, things were just kind of ugly to start the season. So we'll see with him coming back what kind of happens moving forward. But yeah, I think the rest of this season is going to be super interesting for the Clippers. I mean, they are in the 12th seed in the West. They are 12-22. I don't know how many games back they are of the play-in tournament, but the season is far from over, not even halfway done yet. So we could very easily see this Clippers team be quickly in the conversation to make the play-in, maybe a playoff spot, although I really doubt that one. But, you know, we're not a long ways away from them being a genuine playoff team yet again, and unfortunately dashing my hopes of getting A.J. Devonta in this upcoming draft. So, real F you to me, man. But yeah, I just felt the need to talk some Clippers basketball. No one's really talked about them this year except for to shit on them. It's been a rough one, man. This team has looked really, really bad. And I mean, who could have known it? Every other team that was veteran laden with guys that are over 35 years old and have a history of injury problems, every other team that was laden with those guys did fantastic. So I don't know who could have seen the start of this year coming. But they've been better as of late. I'm assuming that things will normalize and stabilize moving forward, and hopefully we'll get to see Kawhi have one more shot at it in the playoffs. That would be a lot of fun. I hope he remains healthy because he truly is just a very fun basketball player. I love watching good basketball. I don't know why you wouldn't. But yeah, that's all I'm going to have here for you today. Thank you so much for watching. If you made it to the end of the video, I very much appreciate you, and I have a lot of love in my heart for you. Go ahead and follow along with the page if you're new here and you'd like to stick around. I hope you do. Like this video, share it with your friends, your family, whoever wants to listen to you. If you want to follow me at any of my other socials, the link will be down in the description below, and I hope to catch you, yes, you, in the next one. Okay, bye.